Alan J. Pakula was a key figure in the New Hollywood movement, shaping the thriller genre with films like Klute, The Parallax View, and All the President's Men. After a brief hiatus in the 80s, he made a strong return in the 90s with Presumed Innocent and The Pelican Brief. Despite his passing in 1998, Pakula left behind an underrated gem, The Devil's Own, featuring strong performances from Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt. In The Devil's Own, Harrison Ford plays Tom O'Mara, a thoughtful and somewhat reserved NYPD officer who lives a quiet life with his wife Sheila, Margaret Collin, and their 3 daughters on Staten Island. Tom has served the city for years, staying out of dangerous situations, until one day, his life is turned upside down. Enter Brad Pitt's character, Frankie McGuire, an Irish Republican Army, IRA, operative sent to New York to acquire weapons following the deaths of his comrades at the hands of the British military. To cover his identity, Frankie adopts the alias Rory Devaney, posing as an immigrant construction worker in need of a place to stay. Tom's family takes Frankie in, welcoming him into their home. As Frankie becomes more ingrained in their lives, Tom starts to notice strange inconsistencies in his behavior, and soon, a series of criminal activities around the city push him to dig deeper into Frankie's past. It doesn't take long for Tom to realize that Frankie may not be the person he claims to be, and the growing tension builds to a confrontation that forces both men to confront their own moral dilemmas. Pakula expertly subverts audience expectations, showcasing both Ford and Pitt in roles that break away from their usual types. Ford, best known for portraying iconic heroes like Han Solo and Indiana Jones, takes on a more grounded, introspective role as Tom. Tom isn't the wisecracking action star we're used to from Ford. Instead, he's a dedicated father and officer who feels the weight of his responsibilities, not just to his city but to his family. By the time The Devil's Own was released, Ford's star was beginning to dim slightly, so this role made sense. Playing a man torn between his career and family was a subtle shift from his previous action-packed roles. On the other hand, Brad Pitt, who often plays charismatic leads, takes on a role that explores his darker side. As Frankie, he's the antagonist, but Pitt brings a complexity to the character by suggesting that Frankie's radical beliefs were shaped by a life of violence and loss. While his Irish accent might not be flawless, Pitt's performance as a man wrestling with his convictions is compelling. What sets The Devil's Own apart from other crime thrillers is its focus on family dynamics. Tom is deeply concerned with his responsibilities as a father, and much of his internal conflict revolves around whether he should retire to keep his family safe. He's determined to set a good example for his daughters, but at the same time, he doesn't want to abandon his sense of duty. Meanwhile, Frankie, despite his hardened exterior and initial anti-American views, starts to form an emotional bond with the O'Mara family. Over time, he begins to see Tom as a father figure, complicating his mission and adding layers of depth to his character. Pakula carefully builds tension throughout the film, and the climax is a masterclass in suspense. The film's final action sequence delivers an intense, exhilarating face-off between Ford and Pitt's characters, culminating in a showdown that leaves audiences on the edge of their seats. While The Devil's Own might not be as widely remembered as some of Ford and Pitt's other major films, it's definitely worth rediscovering. Pakula's careful direction, combined with strong performances from both actors, makes this crime thriller a standout in the 90s crime genre. If you're a fan of character-driven stories that blend crime and family drama, this is a hidden gem that deserves more attention. If you're interested in watching, The Devil's Own is currently streaming on Hulu in the US.